Ever think about those unseen threats? The ones lurking just out of sight in our digital world?
They're definitely out there.
Well, today we're diving deep into something really urgent. A huge security flaw just found in Microsoft SharePoint.
Yeah, this one's affecting thousands globally.
And it's not just any bug, it's a zero-day exploit.
Yeah.
We're talking about a situation where even after you fix the initial problem, hackers might still have the keys.
That persistence is what's really worrying.
So our mission today, unpack what went down, figure out who's really at risk, and, what this all means for you if you're connected to these systems.
Okay.
So to kick us off, how did this whole thing first come to light? What was that initial spark?
Well, the speed, honestly, is what makes this so critical. It was researchers over at Security.
Right.
They flagged the vulnerability on July 18th. That was a Friday.
And then?
And then less than 24 hours later, Saturday, July 19th, Microsoft was already putting out an alert.
Wow, that fast.
Yeah, acknowledging active attacks were happening. It just shows you, the pace of this cybersecurity battle is relentless. High stakes.
Definitely. And this wasn't like a minor software glitch, right? It's a specific kind of nasty exploit.
Exactly. A 0-day, specifically hitting on-premises Microsoft SharePoint servers.
Right. Let's clarify that on-premises bit. That means the software is running on the company's own servers in their building, basically.
Correct. Not the cloud versions that Microsoft hosts. It's the ones organizations manage themselves.
And the really concerning part, you mentioned keys. Hackers stealing encryption keys. Why is that so much worse than, say, just stealing data?
Well, think of these encryption keys as like the master digital credentials, the skeleton keys.
Okay.
They authenticate users, services, everything across the network. When hackers get those keys...
They can pretend to be anyone.
Precisely.
Yeah.
They can impersonate legitimate users, even system services, completely bypassing normal security checks.
And that access sticks, even if you reboot the server.
That's the kicker. It can persist even after a reboot, or, critically, even after the initial vulnerability is patched. That's why it's so dangerous.
Wow. So it's not just breaking in, it's getting a permanent backstage pass.
That's a good way to put it. And the scope, unfortunately, is huge. We're potentially talking tens of thousands of businesses, government agencies all over the world.
Tens of thousands.
And once they have that foothold, that master key, they can often move deeper.
Laterally through the network.
Exactly. Start harvesting passwords, accessing connected services, things Outlook emails, Teams chats, OneDrive files. It really can unlock the whole digital infrastructure.
So it escalates quickly.
Very. And interestingly, this whole thing seems to stem from a couple of bugs that were actually shown off back in May.
Shown off where?
At the Ping-2 hacking contest, where researchers demonstrate vulnerabilities, often pushing vendors like Microsoft to patch things faster.
Right. So this wasn't entirely out of the blue, in a way.
The components were known, but exploiting them this way, this 0-day, was the new, dangerous part.
Okay, so with that kind of deep access possible, who's actually been hit? Do we know?
We do have some reports, yeah. The Washington Post mentioned U.S. federal agencies, some state agencies too.
Federal and state. Yeah.
Also universities, some energy companies, even a big telecommunications firm in Asia. It's quite a spread already.
That's serious. It really hits home how widespread this could be.
It does. But, and this is really crucial, the cloud versions of SharePoint, they are not vulnerable to this specific exploit.
Okay, that's a key distinction. So if your organization is using SharePoint Online, the Microsoft-hosted version, you're okay from this particular threat.
Correct. This is an on-premises server issue, a significant factor for organizations that have moved to the cloud.
So Microsoft reacted fast with the alert. What about fixes, patches?
They did move quickly there, too. They've released patches that they say will fully protect SharePoint 2019 and the SharePoint Subscription Edition servers.
Fully protect. Okay.
And they're actively working on getting a patch out for SharePoint 2016 as well.
But what about those companies already hit? I said that's the U.S. Cybersecurity Agency, right?
Yeah.
If they're advising potentially compromised systems to be disconnected from the internet, patching sounds tricky. It feels like a real race against time if your server's offline.
It's a huge challenge. You're right. SciSize's advice is basically to pull the plug, take the affected servers offline entirely until things are properly sorted out.
Well, the plug.
Which is drastic, right? It shows how severe they view the risk. But for an organization already compromised, patching isn't enough. Recovery is complex. You need to assume those keys are stolen and potentially revoke everything.
It really underlines the need for, well, constant vigilance, doesn't it? and decisive action.
Absolutely. It's not just about waiting for a patch. You need to understand how these attacks work, how they persist.
Yeah, even after the initial fix.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Which sort of brings us to the bigger picture,
What's that?
This whole situation, this rapid-fire, really sophisticated SharePoint exploit. What does it tell us about this ongoing battle, this tug-of-war between digital innovation and, well, security?
It's a constant arms race.
It really is.
Yeah.
And maybe the question for you listening is, what lessons can you take away from this? For navigating your own digital world at work or even at home, how do you stay one step ahead of the next unseen threat?